what's going on with Brittney-Griner? You know who that is? She's a basketball player. Plays for the WNBA. And I guess in the offseason she plays overseas. I don't know. I don't know that much about her. I just know she was supposed to be traveling between Russia and here, and had a bunch of weed on her, or either vape, hashish, something like that, and she got caught. One thing about other countries, they're not, most of them, I won't say most, a lot of them are not as tolerant as we are.
Russia's legal justice system is not like our justice system. Their legal system, they normally have a conviction rate that is super high. I'm saying to the tune of 99%. So normally when we go into the court system in America, we have a presumption of innocence. We're innocent until proven guilty, at least some of us in this country, more often than not. In Russia, that's not the case at all. What happens is Brittney's team will be allowed to present a case, and that case is not going to be heard. If it's about innocence, they expect that you mitigate guilt rather than presume innocence at all.
So she got caught with this hashish. This is, I think it's been like 8 months now, maybe longer. And she's been in jail ever since. She's supposed to be going to trial in Russia. I heard she just pled guilty. But it was more like a half guilty plea where, Your Honor, I take full responsibility, but I didn't know I had it, that kind of thing.
Griner said she accidentally packed cannabis oil in her bag.
I would like to plead guilty on the charges. I had no intention on breaking any Russian law.
The WNBA star has been in Russian custody since February, and pressure is now building on the Biden administration to bring her home.
We are not going to ever be quiet until she's home safely.
The president responded to a letter Griner wrote him from prison pleading for action. He called Griner's wife Wednesday, telling her he is working to secure Brittney's release as soon as possible, as well as the release of Paul Whelan and other U.S. nationals who are wrongfully detained.
It's not really a legitimate, it's not really accountability, but whatever. Call it what you want. But they're starting to make her out to be like some kind of martyr. Like ESPN, they were saying it's because she's black, it's because she's a lesbian, it's because it's a woman. It's like,
if it was LeBron, he'd be home, right? Yeah, it does. It's a statement about the value of women. It's a statement about the value of a black person. It's a statement about the value of a gay person. All of those things, and we know it, and so that's what hurts a little more.
Imagine that Tom Brady or Michael Phelps had been stopped at that airport trying to get out of Russia.
Well, that wouldn't have happened to them because they're compensated fairly for the work that they do. If we valued women in this country, they wouldn't have to go overseas and risk their health and safety in the off season to make the salaries that, quite frankly, they need to stay afloat. I think it's unfortunate, and I think we all know the answer to this question. Certainly, golden boys of American sports would probably not be in the same predicament, and certainly not this quietly. But I think this is about a whole lot of things. And one of them has to be how little we value the labor of women, in particular Black women.
Is Black America doing enough to put pressure on the administration from the ground up with regards to getting Brittney Griner out of prison? I've heard more people saying free Breonna, or not free Breonna, but remember the names, for instance, with regards to George Floyd and Breonna Taylor, than I hear talking about Brittney Griner. And I'm curious as to why that is.
Yeah, so call me incorrect on this, but I think this is not just on Black America. A few months ago, we saw the LGBTQ community come out really harsh on Dave Chappelle. Personally, I disagree with it if you listen to what he said. And what he said was that if this was about Black people in terms of LGBT community, it would not have gotten the same attention as it did. But when you talk about white people or white males, it's a different conversation. I think that what we need is a collective. We need women, We need the LGBTQ community. We need Blacks. We need America talking about this because she is an American, bottom line.
No, I think it's because she got caught with drugs and broke the law. It's really interesting how they're looking at this, because she's the victim.
U.S. officials say Brittney Griner has been wrongfully detained in Russia since mid-February. There's now a full court press to free the Phoenix Mercury All-Star. Here's CBS's Nicole Killian.
One-on-one, Griner.
Instead of being part of the opening lineup,
Griner turns, forces, and finishes.
Brittney Griner's initials and jersey number 42 will be emblazoned on the hardwood by all 12 teams as the WNBA season officially tips off.
It could have been any of us.
Griner's wife, Sherelle, posted a video of her hugging Brittney with the caption Game Day, while social media tributes have poured in with the hashtag WeAreBG.
I know there are countries all over the world where if you get caught stealing, they chop off your finger, they chop off your hand. If you're in another country, you really need to follow their laws and understand you're not in America. I know a lot of these people, her included, aren't great fans of this country. Pretty sure she's a fan now that she realizes, hey, whoa, this isn't right. I shouldn't be getting handled this way. It wasn't that big of an offense. Yeah, here. There, much different situation.
Overnight, back home in Phoenix, an outpouring of support for Brittney Griner, jailed in Russia for more than 4 months on drug charges, as her family and teammates vow to fight for her release.
I honestly can't rest until she's home. I'm frustrated that 140 days have passed since my wife has been able to speak to me.
Sherelle posting to Instagram, I know BG will be able to find comfort in knowing she has not been forgotten. After a handwritten plea from Brittney Griner to President Biden and a letter from more than 1,100 black women leaders, the president and Vice President Harris called Griner's wife Sherelle Wednesday, promising all possible assistance to bring Brittney home. Griner's head coach, Vanessa Nygaard, hearing the news from us.
Do you have any reaction to the president having called Sherelle?
To know that they've read the letter and that they're going to react and respond. This is great, great news, and we hope to have more progress continue.
The two-time Olympic gold medalist had written Mr. Biden 2 days ago with a desperate appeal. I'm terrified I might be here forever, after Russian authorities say vape cartridges containing cannabis oil were found in her luggage. Griner's friends say her experience in prison has been grueling.
We know that this is tough. We also know BG. We know BG is a fierce competitor. She's a fighter. But this situation now, this is weighing on her heavily.
Complicating any negotiation for President Biden, tensions between the U.S. and Russia are at their highest point since the Cold War.
When we're funding a war against the country you got caught breaking the law in. Not good. Not a good situation. There's no embassy that you can go to get this resolved. You're kind of screwed. But what I don't like is how ESPN and our media is covering this as if, well, we should protest and do this. Against who? Against what? Against Russia?
I'm gonna let it shine. Friends and supporters of Ms. Griner gathered tonight at the Russian consulate to convince two countries with clashing ideologies to find their common humanity.
We stand in the gap, and we want our sister to return home to the United States of America.
On February 17th, a week before Russia invaded Ukraine, Ms. Griner was arrested at a security checkpoint at an airport near Moscow and accused of possession of hashish oil. For her family back home, each of 132 days since is a lifetime.
Every single day matters for me to be sound, for me to be alert, for me to be attentive, to make sure that she comes back, but it's hard. It's hard.
You don't think sending $47 billion to Ukraine impacts whether or not they care about your protest? I don't think they care. As a matter of fact, I think that gives them even more reason to stick it to her. This is just me. This is my opinion. I could be 100% wrong, but most likely I'm not.
We now consider Brittney Griner to be a case of wrongful detention.
And then I seen somebody saying the Biden administration needs to go in and advocate on her behalf. Okay, back to the point I just made. You don't think sending $47 billion to the enemies of that country are going to impact whether or not they even allow the Biden administration to talk to them about some basketball player who broke the law?
The ongoing effort to bring Brittney home has applied pressure to the Biden administration to broker a deal. Now news that Bill Richardson, a former governor and ambassador to the UN, who has worked privately for years as an international negotiator, is heading to Moscow. In Chicago, Griner's wife, Sherelle, thankful Brittney is not being forgotten.
Thank you again for keeping my wife's name and legacy very visible while she's not here on U.S. soil.
It's not Griner's game, but her detention in a Russian prison that has been the focus of this weekend's WNBA All-Star game in Chicago. Griner is facing 10 years for allegedly traveling with vape cartridges containing hashish oil.
I don't think so. I really, truly don't think so. I could be wrong. It appears as if I know what I'm talking about. Something to the effect of, I'm right. Why? What do they have to gain in releasing her early, according to their standards? Why would they? Joe Biden has called Putin so many names, declared him the enemy, and sent money to kill his soldiers. What kind of leverage do you think we have of freeing this girl who broke the law in their country? She's not a martyr. They didn't pick her up and accuse her of spying when she wasn't a spy. She got caught with drugs that were hers. She admitted it. She pled guilty.
Griner's guilty plea, what kind of impact does this have on the negotiations to try to bring her home?
It will have no impact on any of the negotiations. We're going to do everything that we can to bring home Brittney Griner safely.
Pretty open and shut case. What, are we going to trade a spy for her? No. We're going to give up intel for a basketball player who wanted to get high? No.
You know, the person they're thinking about that's an interest in a prisoner swap looks like Victor Bout. He's a convicted arms dealer currently, serving 25-year sentence here in the United States. Little different than bringing marijuana cartridges into the country, unbeknownst, she says, that she forgot about them. This detention and trial comes at such a low point, really, in U.S.-Russia relations.
What are they going to get out of freeing this person who broke the law? Like, what favors do they owe us? We went all in, or we didn't. Our president decided to go all in to cover for his son's mistakes and his compromises. So now, Brittney Griner has to pay because she got caught in the wrong place at the wrong time and was doing the wrong thing. And now, we got to deal with it.